Hello, welcome to the Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and in this video, I am going to be looking at and talking you through a Regiment of Renown from the Mad King Rises 4. So this is the death book for the ongoing narrative for the Dawnbringer Crusades. And in this book, we have got several of the different Mortarchs, which are the kind of lieutenants to Big Papa Nagash. And they have all got their own Regiments of Renown, which you can include in other factions other than their home faction. So the one we're looking at is going to be Lady Olynder, the Mortarch of Grief. And she is kind of like the Care Bears, just like more scary. Like, you know, the Care Bear of Love. And this is the Mortarch of Grief. Anyway, she has got a series of models that you can take in her Regiment of Renown. You can't play them in a Nighthaunt army. Instead, you would play them in one of the other armies, is how Regiments of Renown work. When you do deploy them so when you write them on your list, you've got to include all the units, and it gives you the points cost of what the regiment is. And then when you deploy them on the battlefield, they all drop as one, which is quite cool. It's a nice little way to change up how these things work. So it's quite fun. I quite like that. The story right now for Lady Olynder, the story for this regiment is that Lady Olynder had been spurned by Catagros. She made some advances and she was spurned. So she went on a rampage across the mortal realms and decided that she was going to attack some would-be humans, taking out her rage on them versus Catagros, who was really responsible for her feelings. This battalion this Regiment of Renown is the only Regiment of Renown where it's more expensive to take the regiment than it would be to take the individual units in them. However, you can put them in other armies they're not normally allowed to be taken in. So that's basically what's happening. Anyway, so let's go and look at Lady Olynder and her Gussie. So the Sorrowmorn Choir is the name of the Regiment of Renown. And in that, you get Lady Olynder, 10 Dreadscythe Harridans, and 2 units of 4 Mimron Banshees. They do have the ability to have the Ethereal applies to them. So this is going to give them a bunch of stuff that they get from the allegiances that you would normally see in Nighthaunt, which means they have a 6-up ward save for every model in the unit. They also get retreat and charge, which is great because that's what they have in Nighthaunt. And they also ignore all modifiers, positive and negative, to their save roll. So they effectively have an unrenderable save. So they play exactly how you would expect Nighthaunt units to play. They also have the special rule Harvesters of Sorrow. In the battle shot phase, enemy units cannot issue or receive commands while they're within 3 inches of any units of this Regiment of Renown. In addition, if you make an unmodified charge roll of an 8 for a unit in this Regiment of Renown, the strike first effect applies until the end of the turn. So this isn't just no commands, this is only in the battle shock phase, and you have to be locked in combat with this unit as well, so it's within 3 inches. So it's not super strong, especially compared to some of the other Regiments of Renown we've seen where, you know, you can change battle tactics or teleport within 6 inches. All of these have been pretty resounding and powerful. This one feels not very strong at all, and very much feels like the allegiance abilities that you already get for these units anyway. So, you know, especially when we look at, like, you know, the OCR Bone Reapers one, when you include the Morghast, those Morghast are going to be able to turn off commands just because it's on their War Scroll. However, there is a lot to the War Scrolls for the units in this battalion that might be able to make some of the other death factions more appealing. So first up, let's look at Lady Olynder. She's a 2-cast wizard that's got 7 wounds, a 4-up armor save, and a 4-up ward save. So she's fairly survivable, and she's not terrible in combat with 4 attacks at damage 2, but she's not great either. But she is a 2-cast wizard. That's important. She also has the ability once per battle at the start of your hero phase to heal up to D6 slain models from every friendly Nighthaunt summonable unit, which is all of the units in this regiment, which is pretty nice. She's also got the Mortarch of Grief, which is roll a dice each time an enemy unit issues a command within 12 inches. On a 5+, that command is not received. Now, this isn't anywhere near as strong, obviously, as what we've seen from things like, obviously, the Command Core from Cities of Sigmar, but it's still pretty good. 7 wounds, 4-up armor save, with its unrenderable 4-up ward save, a massive AoE heal, and then the ability to shut down commands. Pretty nice. In addition, she has the ability to lift the veil. The real question is, which veil is she lifting? And then when you do this in the shooting phase, on a 1, nothing happens, but on a 2+, whatever you rolled on the results is going to equal that many mortal wounds to the enemy. And if any models were slain by this ability, you can heal D3 wounds allocated to this unit for each model that was slain. So you've also got another way to potentially heal her as well, which is quite nice. So she's a really good solo operative. She's also got her own spell, Grief Stricken, which is cast of 18 inches and cast on a 7. You pick an enemy within range and visible to cast it. You subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit and add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by melee weapons by friendly Nighthaunt. Now, that's only obviously going to affect units in this regiment, especially if you put them in, an OCR Bone Reaper's army or a Flesh Eater Court's army. So it's not that scalable, but -1 to hits, nice enough. She's a 2-cast wizard, so she also can cast a Mystic Shield on another unit. Obviously not on the Nighthaunt units, but she could do it on, a Flesh Eater Court's character or something. Which is fine, I guess. Overall, her points cost wholesale in Nighthaunt's pretty good, 270. Bringing in a 270 point 2-cast wizard into any of the armies that can do mortal wounds at range, do a bit of a heal is pretty good. But she's at 270 points. She's 630 points because of the other units. So let's look at those. There's one unit of 10 Dreadscythe Harridans, and now these are really legit. They've got 4 attacks each that are 4s and 4s, unless they charge. And on a turn in which they charge, you get to add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls. It's not just on the charge, by the way. It's all the time. As long as there is a unit within 6 inches, enemy unit within 6 inches, got any models that were slain this turn. So that means you're going to be having 40 attacks, 41 because of the champion, hitting on 3s, wound on 3s, with no rend. That's the problem, and damage 1. So I guess the real situation here is that you want to cast Hoarfrost on this unit. So then they go up to having Rend 3. And 40 attacks, Rend 3 is actually really, really good. And then finally, you've got the Harrowing Shriek, which is subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made by enemy units within 3 inches of this unit that made a charge move in the same turn. So there's the ability to put -1 to wound in another army, which I find is quite interesting. You can bring a -1 to hit shot, a -1 to wound shot, not shot, but effect into, Flesh Eater Courts, which really do need something to help with their survivability. But I don't think you're going to do that because Flesh Eater Courts need all their heroes. We'll talk about that at the end. So Dreadscythe Harridans, very good. And then finally you got the Mimron Banshees. You would need another wizard for Hoarfrost because Lady Olynder won't be able to take it. And then there's 2 units of Mimron Banshees, and these are actually, again, great. They've got 1 wound each, and they're a unit of 4, so very fragile. So it's just 4 wounds on a 4-up armor save, 6-up ward save in this battalion. The reason that you take them, they're actually not bad in combat either. 2 attacks each, that's 8 attacks from the unit, hit on 4s, wounded on a 3, rend 2, damage 2 is a good profile. They've got the ability Spell Eaters, which, after you've done an Unbind or a Dispel, if an enemy endless spell or even an enemy spell may affect a unit, so it's wholly within 12 inches of this unit, then you roll 2d6, and as long as you beat the casting value, so not what the opponent cast it on, so if they cast it on a 10, if the spell is only needs a 5 to cast, you've just got to roll a 6 to beat it. So you've just got to beat the casting value, not what the person rolled. And then this is going to protect loads of an army. And there's 2 units. So imagine effectively 2 Null Myriad auras around your army from the Mimron Banshees is what you've got here. So overall, you have, and not a bad melee unit anyway. So overall, you've got the ability to do spells and do mortal wounds at range and do some healing. You've got the ability to do quite a lot of attacks out of one of the units. And you've got this big AoE spell shutting down aura from 2 of the other units, all for 630 points. The thing is I don't know if any of the other armies need it. OCR Bone Reapers already have a spell ignore. Flesh Eater Courts are so kind of built around how you want to have units die and then come back and generate all of the delusion points. I don't think that that's very relevant either for those. So Soulblight Gravelords, I don't know. They can have a lot of cheap units. I don't know if they need any of this in their army as well. They've got units that can fight. The spell ignore might legit be nice. That might be something that they help. So I'm not really sure what this does and for which army this does it for, and which army you would want to take it in. That's kind of the problem. And the fact that you're already paying more points for this than the constitute parts makes me a little bit disappointed. But yeah, I just don't really see the game plan for this Regiment of Renown. But if you do have any ideas, do let me know. And then let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching the video. I hope you've liked it. Thanks. I've been enjoying making little shorter videos about each regiment versus one giant one and chatting about it. It's been really cool. Thanks to Twitch chat for hanging out. Thanks to everyone on the Patreon for supporting the show. Loads of love. Hope you enjoyed the video. Comments, like, subscribe. That would all be great. Thank you.